of the PSYOP that takes place, because our military and media is run by foreign enemies of this country, foreign banks, is when the NDAA clearly stated that it would allow the secret arrest of Americans, secret torture, secret killing, secret disappearance. The media came out and said it couldn't be true. And then there was a debate about whether or not it was true, and then they admitted it was true, but Obama said he wouldn't sign it, but of course he did. That's another PSYOP. Tell you it's not going to pass, so ignorant people will then argue when it does pass and say, no, Obama was against that. Because if you lie, it doesn't matter if some people know you're lying as long as the general public is ignorant and it confuses things. Because then you make the debate about whether or not the NDAA even exists. Now, all over the country, started about 5 years ago, they have TSA checkpoints on highways, at bus terminals, trains. They're now going to be at the cruise terminals, groping your genitals. It's all an act of domination. Total federalization, totally illegal, threat fusion center, SWAT teams federalized, total control. Then they start hiring every month tens of thousands more domestic internment specialists to be at old military bases, and we have the purchase orders and the bid process to expand these camps. And they're like, okay, well, there are camps. You go to the congressman. You say, well, I got the legislation to fund more camps. There's no legislation. Here it is. Oh, I do remember that now. Oh, that's just to help children. Well, we saw one of the camps that actually does have playscapes for children. We saw children on it. They were probably happy little children, though, weren't they? And he talked to Ventura like he was a child on that TV show. That's the PSYOP. They go get training in this because even if you know they're lying, it still takes it back to the fact that they're acting like they don't understand what you're saying to them. Cass Sunstein, we're like, here's your papers where you say, arrest people that disagree with the government, fine them, fee them, outlaw it. Define conspiracy theory as asking questions and not believing known liars, and then fine us, fee us, or arrest us. And Sunstein goes, I don't remember. I've written a lot of papers, and starts laughing at him. Even though he wrote them 3 years ago and it's been all over the news and he's responded to it before. He just smiles and goes, I don't know what you're talking about. And then just smiles at him because there's that denial so that there can't be a real debate because he knows people are watching that aren't going to go check the information. He's counting on their ignorance. And he looks at Luke knowingly like going, it doesn't matter if you're awake, Sonny. I'm going to get these people. That's the message. It doesn't matter, Jones, how many documents and pieces of legislation you have and how many camps you've been to. The sheep are going to hear this, and they're not going to go check. They're not going to pass this forward on their email list or Facebook or Twitter. They're not going to go to Real Alex Jones on Twitter and get our Twitter tweet on this and retweet it. They're just going to go, oh, yeah, camps. Or even those that do listen are just going to repeat it. Well, we can break that. I remember being on radio shows for over a decade and going, you're the guy that says the Gulf of Tonkin to get us into Vietnam was staged. Ah, conspiracy theorist. Then in 2004, the 40th anniversary of 1964 event, they declassified that it was all staged, released the audio tapes of McNamara telling the president over the phone from D.C. to outside Austin at the LBJ Ranch how they were going to lie to the public and how they would phase it in and get the Gulf of Tonkin resolution. And the president's taken the orders from the former corporate executive who was the real president. He's there going, taking his orders. There's always an imperial legate in there who really commands the president. In public, he says yes, sir, to the president, but not in private. Not in private. And people are saying, why are you talking about this? The point is, it was never a conspiracy theory the Gulf of Tonkin was staged. Good men from those ships who came back said we were not attacked, it was all a lie, including one captain and one first mate. They quietly got in trouble. That was in the San Diego Herald Tribune months after the Gulf of Tonkin when their ships got back. They waited till they got back. They went and told. The paper did its job, reported it. But it became a rumor. I had that article. I'd had the historians on. I'd seen copies of it in books. I'd gone and checked. I knew. I knew. It wasn't a rumor for me. I knew. But I don't just believe documents. I've been to the urban drills. I've witnessed them trained to put Americans and say it's for America in camps and take your guns and take your children away from you. And I just read, if you just joined us, I want to hear from police and from active duty military. I'd also like to hear from pastors. They take you in, they tell you you're part of a secret program, give you an InfoGuard card, give your church, small or large, a little bit of money, you know, a new van, some new TVs, and now you're part of the faith-based initiative. Now you're not a church, you're not even a charity, you're a government front. You're a collaborator with the bankers and their takeover. I don't care if they put American flags on the outside of it, it's anti-liberty. It's total evil. And so the preachers and all the rest of them, you go to any church this weekend, it's worship the government, do what you're told, it's of the Lord. I mean, just unbelievable, getting ready for the collapse. But the thing is, it isn't even do what you're told because the government's good and got good people in it, and we've got an outside threat. This is the very bankers imploding our society, bringing this in. So I want to hear, because you guys are so cowardly, especially the preachers, that because you know this is classified and you've been told not to talk about it, you won't call in about the clergy response team, even though I had the documents 6 years ago. And since then, there'll be a newscast on it, running PSYOP. We've played those newscasts here. And the police are so scared. When they call in, even as listeners, I go, so you've worked with the military and warrant service, haven't you? Well, yeah, I'm not supposed to get into this. It's everybody, folks. It's a giant secret program, and they've gotten our police that are supposed to be under state charter, under the municipal government, to be little secret agents, and they get off on it. You know, the TV's always, ooh, CIA, ooh, classified, like it's rock star status. It's all fake. It's nothing. It means being disreputable and traitorous against this country. You understand that? The modern-day CIA, you can undoubtedly say, is a foreign power, is a group of mercenaries of a foreign power. And there's hundreds of thousands of CIA agents, officers, and millions of their minions in the United States. I'd estimate it's at 10 million under direct CIA control. I mean, every dentist my dad knows has been approached to spy on everybody in their office. And it's like, well, what's the spying? I don't know. Not paying taxes, marijuana, pills, talking bad about the government. It's, folks, it is a total Stasi state where everybody starts ratting everybody out. The people get scared. They know it's a tyranny, so they start going along with it. A lot of people are going to get really energized and aggressive with this system, not because they believe the propaganda, but because they're such smoking cowards. And statistically, by the way, the system likes to destroy them. That's one of their favorite little dishes. So those poor idiots have no idea what's about to happen to them. Historically, these operatives, when they take over, respect and fear people like myself, Ron Paul, and others, because they know we understand. And they're usually compartmentalized and get totally freaked out by somebody that decompartmentalizes things for them. But the country will be destroyed. It will totally fall into third world cesspit if the globalists have their way. This is it. This is it. And it's so real it makes my head spin. So I want to hear from military, because I know there's over 100,000 of you at least, active and former, who can be called back up, who in the last decade have been phased through this civilian inmate labor camp PSYOP program that I covered in the last hour that's the biggest news ever. Leaked U.S. Army document outlines plan for re-education camps in America. And I want to hear from pastors who, A, said no to the clergy response team or said that they would go along with it. I mean, it's time to come to the altar. Show everybody that you repent of being part of the clergy response team. Have a little courage. Stop being a coward. Your ancestors are looking down on you from heaven, and you're a shameful person if you don't have the will to call in and admit what you've done. I mean, we already know it, but it's good to talk about it, to at least get you out in the open discussing this. And I want to hear from police. I mean, is there nothing you won't go along with? You know, I had a guy calling, he's a listener, he's a fan. Yeah, he knows that was a good guy they killed up in Georgia. That's where he's from. He's now down in San Antonio as a senior officer. And I go, and yeah, you work with the military, don't you, in Secret Warrant Service? Yeah, we do. It's totally illegal. It's totally secret. And the fact that you had to hesitate before saying it. Look, the globalists know it. They set it up. The little public doesn't know. They don't know. They don't know. They don't understand. They think they're not going to go look at my article and my PDF and the government documents. They're just going to say, oh, Alex Jones talking about a police state takeover. Yeah, that fearmonger who said they'd have TSA checkpoints on highways. Well, they do, but he's still a fearmonger. They're ratcheting this up to see what they can get away with. We've got to go absolutely hog wild ape and scream bloody murder and run around like chickens with our heads cut off with this information. Get this article, leaked U.S. Army document, outlines plan to re-education camps in America. And it goes through, breaking up the families, PSYOPs, taking the political dissidents away. I mean, this makes NDAA look tame, saying they'll secretly arrest us, because this states it's for people politically active. I already knew that under the COINTELPRO and under Rex 84. Even preachers in there that are establishment, they've got targeted and watched and will decide to arrest later, because they've got actuaries and they know your moral fiber, that they know you're a dupe. At the certain level down the road, they know statistically when you're going to buck up against it, they're just going to come by and kill you. That's in the InfraGard documents. They're going to kill you and say it was a suicide. They're going to kill preachers, talk show hosts. It's going to be hell on earth. Thank God for the renegades. All right. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231. 800-259-9231. I want to explain something. When the Army says they'll follow orders to secretly arrest citizens, that's illegal. I mean, that's an order like Hitler saying, shoot that kid in the head. And if you do it, you're an accomplice. All of this is illegal. The military assisting, oh, I know, they've got the training, so they're going to help you. It's all about getting you ready for this. The drug war, all of it's to corrupt you. And now it's coming out in the open, and now they admit, yeah, we're going to take you to re-education centers, political dissidents that don't agree with the government. And because they say that's the policy of the U.S. is the government, not the American people. You don't have free speech in America. You're not going to have private property either. Only the big mega banks are. Agenda 21, all of it. It's all accelerating. And if you think the stuff's moving fast now in a year or two, lightning speed, lightning. Maybe next week, maybe 2 years from now. But, I mean, it's coming to that flashpoint. Toll-free number to join us, 800-259-9231. 800-259-9231. We've got military, police, listens to the podcast, police officer just retired, police, pastor. Who should I go to first? Who's been holding the longest? I'll try to shut up and go to you guys quick because I know you're busy. Let's go to military police, David in New Jersey. David, was this any secret to you, this document?
Actually, Alex, not at all. To be honest with you, I've been trying to call in for a few weeks. I listen to you all the time. I actually got into probably 2 years ago. The weird thing with me is, like, I had been seeing how the country's going in, and I came in on the military with, like, the intention to do good, and it really bothered me how, like, the whole war on terror turned out to be a whole bunch of garbage. I actually experienced, when you're talking about the whole false flag issues regarding, I received an award for catching 2 people on terror watch list at a gate. And I can provide that documentation to you. And the thing that really bothered me and what turned me on to you was the FBI knew where they were the entire time and let them just come right up to the gate. And who the hell knows what would happen. It just bothers me that they let them in the country with no passport or anything.
Exactly. They were, well, that's in the news today, where even mainstream media admits they're creating and leading the groups and trying to get them to attack.
Absolutely. I mean, they knew what they ate that day. Like when it came out, they were held for 6 hours at our base, and when it came out 6 hours later, the FBI knew what they ate that morning. They were in the country with no passport, no identification, no nothing, and it just so happened that they had a dependent that...
of course, they bring them in, and of course they sell it, oh, it's for the Muslim extremists. No, in the training manuals, it's for people like Charlie Daniels, basically. So expanding on this, what do you make of this re-education camp thing for political dissidents?